Greetings, Einar here. We're gonna talk about. So the last time I had a video was for session 0, and now we're gonna just talk about the whole game process. The whole let's get together, and then we're gonna start getting some more kind of meat and potatoes, the more heavier stuff next video. But so this is gonna be a little bit more light and a little bit easy, I guess is a good way to put it. So what are we gonna do for our first game or gaming in general? And as a game master, obviously you're going to be the one herding cats. Trying to find out when the games are going to happen, schedule whether it's online or in person. And if it's online, then you're probably also responsible for setting up if it's Roll20, you got to set up the room for Roll20, or if you're using Fantasy Grounds or any of the other resources, you're going to be one setting all that up. And as the DM, storyteller, or game master, you need to be prepared for your game. Now, you will not be prepared for everything the players throw at you. Don't even try. It's just never going to work out most of the time. But, have your notes ready, have whatever story elements you have. If you have monsters, have those ready. Be prepared for your game. So, if you have special dice or handouts or anything like that, make sure you have whatever prints, copies, things that you need so the game runs smoothly on your end. So nobody wants a GM that's completely unprepared. Now sometimes charts take time, and if everyone knows that you're gonna be using charts, and so for those random encounters, and you have to look up all of the monsters, things like that happens. Let everybody know from the very beginning. This is something that there's also random loot tables. Like there is some games have extensive loot tables. So you can have random items just coming out of your yin yang with all the different rolls you have to make, and it could take literally minutes to roll one fight. So and you're just rolling treasure. So that can happen too. But everyone needs to know that out of the gate. That's the way the game's going to function, and that's so everyone's prepared for it. So, but like I said, make sure if you have any handouts, your handouts are ready, whether it's digital format, printed, if it's in person, however you want it, or you can even do digital in person. So everyone can have tablet devices or different electronic devices is a complete possibility as well. There's a lot of people now are actually using tablets and laptops and things like that just for gaming in general. So they don't have their printed character sheet anymore. They've got their character app. They pull up their phone, they're like, oh, let me see, I got my character here, and I'm going to look at, I can look up my spells, I can look up, all that stuff. So if you have digital copies, make sure everyone gets their digital copy, and if everyone's going to be using digital character sheets, make sure everyone, gets that digital connection. So you can send those handouts to them as needed through email or whatever. There's lots of different ways to do it. And so be prepared for all of that. Now, also as a GM, make sure if you plan any breaks, what are you going to do during that break? It's not going to be just, I'm going to eat. I'm going to, use the bathroom. I'm going to collect, I'm going to break at a particular point so I can collect my thoughts and work on a story. There's a lot of things that you could do during a break. So, but if you're going to have a break and you're going to plan a break, make sure you know what you're going to do during that break. Best possible, of course. You're not going to be able to plan for everything. But, sometimes break is snack or, or food or bathroom or whatever, drink, whatever it might be. And now this is going to be, either in person or online. So you got to figure out what you're going to do for your break so you can make sure you're prepared to go after the break as well. And try to figure out, hey, everyone, let's take a 20-minute break or a 15-minute break. Please make it back in 15 minutes or 20 minutes so we can continue. Now, if you're streaming, that turns into, you got to know your audience. A 15-minute break can mean people leave. That's always a possibility. Let everybody know you're going to be taking this break. It's going to be 15 minutes. Everyone go get up, go stretch, do your thing. Some players aren't going to get up and move. You can engage, have them, or as a game master, you may not move either, really. You might still be at your desk or your setup or whatever it might be. and you can continue to engage the audience and stuff as well. We're not going to talk about those parts about streaming and stuff, but even as a stream, you're going to have a break. If you're going to be, just remember that you have people watching you while you're on break. So, you have to be a little more, I don't want to say, flexible or anything, but you're going to need more aware of that you have other people waiting, not just your players and everything else. So keep that in mind. But, a break is a good time to, besides taking care of the regulars, is to gather your notes, gather your thoughts, maybe shift gears if you have to. If you have to take an extended break because you need to discuss things with a player or 2 or 3 or more, then let everybody know at the very beginning, hey, we're going to take a break. I need to talk to everybody about 5-10 minutes each, and we're going to get back to the game afterwards. Yeah, that's great. Just let them know at the very beginning of the break, not like, don't do all your stuff and go, oh, by the way, because some people are going to shorten their break because that's what they want to do. They don't want to have a super long break. They're going to shorten it on purpose to be able to do things like, oh, shoot, well, I only got 15 minutes. Got to make sure I got time to squeeze it all in. Now, if they're like, well, if everyone's going to have a conversation with the game master, or 2 people are going to have a conversation with the game master, going to be about 10 minutes each, well, this 15-minute break just turned into a 35-minute break. Well, that's kind of important. That's kind of a really important thing. So, keep that in mind so the breaks, go smooth and things like that. But also like I said, be prepared for your game. So if you need to be hydrated, use my you need to be hydrated, make sure you have beverage handy, make sure you have your snacks handy, make sure you have, everything that you need when you sit down, best you can. So, and then if you need to, break, do your thing, or if it's a group effort, then, things will be a little bit different. Now, as a player, same thing. Be prepared for the game. Bring your character sheet. If you have any notes, if you need the book for your character or your race or your class or anything else, have it handy. Have all the information you need handy so you can sit there and go, okay, what can my character do? Always read your character before the game starts. I really, really, really impress this upon every gamer. It takes you a few minutes. That's it, just a few minutes. And you can read your character. You know exactly what they can do. You know exactly about the aspects of your character because it's fresh in your mind. So what has happened in the past, which has turned into some very entertaining gaming, is like I had a player character who forgot that he spoke a particular language. So the character spoke the wrong language, so he sounded like he was a spy from another country or another region. And so they went after him, and then, 3 games later, he's like, oh, yeah, I can totally read and write and speak that language. I'm like, and I'm good at it. But he didn't read his character sheet. So, and that's an important piece. So, and you don't even know, you might forget that, oh, shoot, I have potions, I have scrolls, I have, whatever it might be. So please, 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 as a player, read your character sheet before the game starts. Every time. Just because, you know what, there may have been that note that you put in last session that you forgot about. Or another situation where a player made a mark that his weapons and armor were damaged, except he forgot to erase it when they weren't. So later on, he kept fighting as his weapons and armor were damaged, and he's like, oh, my stats are a little bit different. I'm like, not my fault. I can't make changes for you like that. You should have been aware and you should have read your character sheet. People forget that they don't have enough ammo. They don't have enough resources, whatever it might be. So always double check your character sheet before the game. When you sit down, pull out your character sheet, whether digital or physical, it doesn't matter. Just read it. So front and back, everything that you need to read. Like the background story, you may not have to read if you don't want to. You did develop it yourself, so you should know it. But be familiar with your statistics, your skills, your abilities, your powers, your spells, your gear. Especially if you have special gear, make sure you know what your special gear is. Remember that from last game, things may not have refreshed. You may have buffs still, or you may have debuffs still, whatever. So keep that in mind. That's another good time to actually look into it and pay attention to that. So always read your character. Now, also be prepared for the game. Bring your snack, your beverage, whatever it might be that you need to stay hydrated, to stay alert, because some people need the caffeine to stay alert. Take all of that stuff into account when you sit down at the table, whether it's your desk, like something like this, and, sure, yeah, I've got a big mug. I can just, ignore the fact that it's got pens in it. I'm not going to drink pens and pencils. That's That's just, stupid. But, I have a spot for drinks, and I have a spot for a snack, and I have a spot for this, because I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to game, and I'm going to need it. And then when it's break time, you go refill, you go refresh, you go do your thing, take all your stuff back, do what you need to do. And, for some groups, okay, we're going to discuss that in a minute. So, I'm skipping ahead. I need to stop. But, so, be prepared for the game. Be prepared with your, not just, and I know it's going to be hard to be in the mental mindset sometimes for the game. And if you're like, I really want to just break stuff and kill monsters this game. Or I'm really looking for something that's going to be more thrilling and intellectual. Whatever it might be, let people know if it's something that's not normally what you do. So if you're not normally the break things and hack and slash, and you're like, I'm not feeling it today, I really want to do hack and slash, let your game master know. Even let your players know. This is kind of the mood that you're in, and your character's going to be affected by your mood, obviously. So, that's perfectly fine too. But be prepared for the game. Just be prepared. That's the only thing I have to ask. And most game masters will ask you that as well. So, and if there's anything you need to do, and now we're going to go to another thing. That's mutual respect. Remember, if you're going to be late, let your game master know. Your dungeon master, whatever. Let them know. Let your group know, I am going to be late. And if you know how long, tell them how long. If you have an idea of what it might be, let them know. Not him. Let them know. Sorry. So, because again, that's mutual respect. If you're not going to make it, the soonest you know that you may not make the game, like it's a thing, not like, well, maybe I don't feel like it. No, like if you know that there's a chance that I'm going to have to work, or I'm going to be sick, or I'm not feeling it, or whatever it might be, doesn't matter the excuse, or excuse or happenstance. I don't want to just call it excuse, but whatever happenstance, let your group know, I'm going to not make it. I have this chance of not making it, because it could affect how the game is set up, and it could affect how other players are going to do things too, not just the game master. So always remember that if you're going to have the chance, and not like the minute chance that, I'm going to get hit by a meteorite and I'm going to get killed and I'm not going to make it. Not that kind of chance. But, I've been kind of busy, works might call me in. As soon as you find that out, let your group know, hey, work might call me in, I may not be able to make it to the game. That's great, because then everyone can plan for it, just in case. Of course, no one's going to want you to not be there. But, it could be, like, if you were next up in the round, well, what's going to happen now? You're not there. So, you have to keep that in mind. Sorry, I got too much beard going on. But you have to keep that in mind. So, now we're going to go the step differently. So, because that's basically etiquette all the time. Now, in person, some of the things that can happen, now you're going to have a host. Someone's going to host the group. Please be polite to the host. Don't make a mess. Obviously, it's, it could be your place. Then people, like, if you leave a mess, they might leave a mess for you. Don't leave a mess. Don't leave your garbage around. My group, when we get together, sometimes we have food. So it's like a dinner event plus gaming, and dinners sometimes before, sometimes during, sometimes after, depending. So, knowing that that's going to happen, everyone's like, okay, we're going to pause. It's a dinner break. We'll do our dinner thing, and then we'll get back to the game. And that's, it's a social event. That's kind of expected. But make sure everyone knows, hey, this is a dinner event. No, it's going to be weird if somebody shows up with, like, a sandwich and, like, we're making stuff already, why'd you bring a sandwich? Or, didn't bring anything and didn't expect to actually have a dinner thing, or ate beforehand, or whatever it might be. And you can't make everybody happy, so not everyone's going to want the same food and so on and so forth. But make sure you know that, you communicate properly that, hey, this is going to be a dinner event, or this is going to be a lunch event, this is going to be a food event, or if you're if you're one of those rare groups, this is a breakfast event, because that doesn't really happen very often. So, but keep that in mind. And, and make sure you have, everything you need. And don't show up for a game in person and go, you know what, I don't have a pencil. I don't have any scrap paper. I don't have dice, whatever it might be. That's kind of the same thing as being unprepared entirely. So have that stuff. Keep it handy. Make sure you have your bag, because most people carry a bag or folder. But, have it prepared. Set it up before you just go. Before you just grab and go, I've got my bag. We're off. Because, there's people like, well, I thought it was in my bag. Well, did you even look? It's part of that mutual respect thing, and that will makes you prepared. So spend a few extra minutes that you need beforehand to make sure you got all your stuff. And if you don't take anything out of your bag, it doesn't matter. Just spend a minute to go look, make sure you've got pencils. It's like going to school, like going to work, whatever. You've got some pencils or pens, something to write with, something to write on, and just to take notes. Or if you're even a digital, make sure you have your cord, an extra cord, charger, battery pack, whatever, so you're not all of a sudden like, well, I'm dead, my system's dead. Sorry, I don't know my character, I can't do anything. Just a little extra step. Now, again, it's not going to happen for everybody. It's not super common. But some people always forget. So, you just have, just a kind reminder, because that's something that will really slow the game down too. Like, now bad things happen. My laptop crashed. I erased so much of my character sheet it ripped a hole in it. That's really something that does happen. Or I spilled all over my stuff. Like, that's never happened for anybody, right? So, so accidents happen. That's a little bit different. But be prepared. Don't show up and go, oh yeah, everything's digital. Can I borrow a cord? Can I borrow a battery pack? Can I borrow, can you print this out for me? Like on the spur of the moment. No, you just have your stuff ready. Don't don't expect everyone. Now, if you call ahead of time or contact ahead of time and say, hey, look, I need to print something out because I made changes, or I have this information and I want to have a hard copy, that's different. Or, hey, I need these files. Can you send them to me before the game or whatever? That's a little, again, that's different. But if you have everything that you need, make sure you actually have everything that you need. So be prepared for the game. And everyone will have a better time, because then you're going to bicker about complete other things, like how this D20 can't roll anything for me today, and it's garbage, and I don't want it, and I hate it, and I don't have another one. Can I borrow somebody else's because this dice hates me? Those are the problems you should be having in game. Or I can't do anything except critically fail this game, or whatever it might be. But always be prepared for your game. And I think that's going to cover a lot of our basics. I think we've already covered all of the other basics that I think to this point, Session 0, Toxic People, and, everything else. And this was more of a little more detail-oriented. So I'm going to shift gears. I think this is going to be the end of this little segment, and I think I'm going to go more towards a player aspect and potentially a Game Master aspect after the fact. I think maybe next time we'll talk about backgrounds, and how to incorporate them into the game. But anyway, thanks for coming out, watching the video, and I hope that you learned something from this, or it jogged your memory, whatever it might be. And again, this is just for basic. This is basic knowledge, basic for beginners, and basic for veterans that seem to forget that, oh yeah, I forgot. I should have, I keep forgetting to read my character sheet, and I keep forgetting that my character can do something. But thanks for coming out, and I will see you in the next video.